welcome to the 20th Bo Cameronian Arts Awards on set. My name is Miriam, and joining me today are the nominees for Best Visual Presentation in the Music category. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Let's begin with a lighter question. Would you rather deal with a power outage mid-performance or a constant glitch with the projector?
I would go for the constant glitch with the projector.
Okay. Why?
Well, it's part of the show.
Nice, nice. Yes.
Because if power outage is going to be dire for us, I think.
Yeah. Can you imagine just like having like a big show going like an opera and then suddenly boom?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, what about you?
Actually, my answer is the same. Because in the performance, I think the projector is still okay. If there's a glitch, then it might be an effect for the concerts. But power is really important.
Okay, so let's perhaps dive into a little bit more of the more important questions on process and creative insights onto the productions. So Danny, you are representing Opera C La Bohemia. Yes. Congratulations on the nomination.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk about this blend of Malaysian culture that was integrated into the original set design. What were some of the challenges, and how did you ensure that all those elements visually kind of appropriately represented Malaysian culture?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Opera C actually stands for Opera C as in Italian. Yes.
Okay.
Opera C La Bohemia is our Malaysian version of Puccini's La Boheme. Yep. And everyone knows La Boheme is a very famous opera. But La Boheme, Puccini's version, is based in Paris in the 1800s. Yeah, whereas we staged our version in the 1960s of Malaya. Okay, as you can see, both this period are very different from the setting, from the costume, from the people and things like that. But what we try to do is to find what's common. And we all know that during that time, like during Paris in the 1800s, there are a renaissance of arts, practitioners and people who want to make a change, and with bold ideas and so on. And similarly, in the 1960s, we have the P. Ramlee era, where we had young artists trying to make it big post our Independence Day, right? So everything was really blossoming and things are really happening. And so what we try to link to or attach to was that spirit, the spirit of creativity, the spirit of wanting to do things, the confidence, the courage. So we kind of link on that, and to build that two very different period, into one production. Yeah. And it's very nice because from the set perspective, costume perspective, that is both equally vibrant in the presentation.
And did you find that the information on 1960s Malaysia, also Malaya at that point, right?
Yes,
haven't become Malaysia.
Not Malaysia yet.
So was there any challenges in finding information on that?
No, actually. We had our team, shout out to our costume designer Dominic Devosin, and then we have Amelia, who's our stage director, as well as Chia, who's the designer for the visual presentation that we had on the LED. There's a lot of information of that period, but our challenge was really more of how to present it in a more unique way, right? I think everyone is kind of expecting a very cliche presentation of something P. Ramlee and the usual. So we thought, opera is already quite traditional,
and very grand as well.
Grand but very traditional. But so how can we make it modernized and make it interesting and unexpected for the audience? So that was it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. We'll come back to you with more questions. But now over to Eric. Thank you for being here once again. And you're representing the production on Spice, Magic and Mystique by the young KL Singh. It sounds very nice and curious and mysterious.
And spicy.
And spicy, yes. So how much of the performance visual identity was rooted in traditional representations of Southeast Asian culture? That's the first question. And how was it like balancing that with something more contemporary?
We try to implement the Southeast Asian culture, which we brings in the elements like batik and then the traditional ceremonies and also some spiritual elements to the production, so that we try to bring on, let the audience to feel like to experience how Southeast Asian culture looks like.
Yeah.
And because we are using pentas too, so it allows us to really go all out in exploring the space. We tend to use a new concept that we never tried before on the staging, which the audience is surrounded by all our performers.
Yeah.
So they actually have the experience with the 360 degrees of the ambience that I can experience in terms of the visual and also the sound surrounding them.
Yeah.
So with this blend with the culture, the traditional culture from Southeast Asia, and also using our innovative approach, like all the lighting design from. Also, want to shout out to our lighting designer, Lim Ang Sui. He's doing a very great job in creating an atmosphere for the audience that provide a very good experience for our audience.
Yeah. Nice, thank you. And similar to my question to Danny, what was maybe one of the challenges that you went? I love how you talk about it being 360.
Yeah.
It's a different way of, physically experiencing these traditions. But any challenges that was in the process?
Yeah, because as this is our first time experience that, in terms of how to being really set up a 360-degree experience for our audience is really challenging. Like, we have tried several setup, but no, we don't think that's work. Then we try and error. Then eventually, before our first show, we managed to really come up with something that we really agree with.
Yeah.
So that's the main challenges we face.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you also for talking about how audiences, the seating and how they experience it goes into, that live physical relationship with what's being shown. Thank you for touching on that. So Danny, back to you. I want to kind of focus on costumes. Costumes is really one of the first things that indicate an era and a theme. So how do you view the role of costume design in communicating deeper themes? Perhaps a little bit more specific into socioeconomic divide or this nature of love.
Well, in La Boheme, basically the story goes around a group of friends, and they at that time celebrate Christmas Eve, and they go into like a celebration atmosphere in Act 2, at the end of Act 2, And at that scene, you basically can have the entire kampong all come out, to enjoy the celebration. So that was an opportunity for us, since we are depicting 1960s Malaya. So we showed, people from all walks of life, different races, multicultural activities going on, everyone having a celebration, having a good time, And I think that actually enhances the whole experience of enjoyment for audience, right?
Yes.
And all of us know that is a very iconic scene, where we have the celebration, we have drummers and things going on. So we were able to let our cast members, dress up in different costumes. And what I really like, what Dominique did was, she actually mixed them up. She had a Indian lady wear the cheongsam. She had a Chinese lady wear the sari, you know, and so we kind of mix everything up and making it really diverse and truly representative for our culture, and our legacy. So I thought it was really fun. And then again, I'm glad we did that and really, did credit and justice to Puccini's composition and that scene.
Oh, thank you for sharing. What was it like for you personally seeing, kind of different races wearing different ethnic costumes.
Yeah. I was actually, I didn't know that they were going to do that. I'm a producer, but I didn't know, But then I was like, hey, Sharon, how come you're wearing cheongsam? Sharon is actually mixed. She's Punjabi and Chinese.
Chinese, okay,
So
nice.
I said, oh, well, don't dress be a mixed one.
Yeah.
And then we have another, one of our cast members, she's Chinese and she was dressed in sari. But actually, it looked really good, on everyone. So I think it works. And why not? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Looking at the final production, what was perhaps the most important moment for you?
I think the moment that really catch my attention is I feel like everyone's effort really worth it is when the YKS member performing one of the song called Ratu Do It. It's a very challenging work where it requires a very synchronized movement, and also in the same time you have to sing in a perfect pitch.
Yeah.
And also some background about YKS members. All of them are working adults and they don't really come with like dance background or even a vocal lesson any. So it's very challenging for all the members. But when you see them come from like really nothing and then from a lot of mistake, and even during our last rehearsal in our company, our Young Choral Academy, they are still doing a lot of mistake. And at one point that we are like, oh, how are we going to perform this? But when they are on stage, they really go all out, and it's really unforgettable. I can't forget the moment that they really go all out and perform. Like even the movement is very fast paced, but they do everything synchronously, and like it's not a solo work; it's a group work. But everyone managed to do it. So like I really feel touched on it.
Yeah. Thank you. And Danny, what about you? What was one of the most vital moments in the production that stood out for you?
Actually, the first one was deciding to set it in 1960 Malaya, actually. Because we believe there are still many purist opera followers in Malaysia. And by changing the setting, some people may not actually like it or be in favor of that. And furthermore, it also enhanced the challenges of staging the opera. Because the opera, the original one happens, where they go through winter, they go through the cold of winter and so on. How do you do that when you set it in Malaya and so on? So that was actually very challenging. And then the other one was, as an opera company here in Malaysia, we have to always try to keep production costs low. So building sets and all that and then storing it is not really a viable option for us. So how do we then transport people to that era, by doing something, So then we brought in the LED screen. And then how do we use the LED screen effectively to again make it work and so on. So I think that two decision was hard ones because the second one also involves some financial, commitment and so on. But I think it paid off. We are very happy at the end with the results.
Was there a moment visually, and this question I would like to ask both of you, a moment visually that really just exceeded expectations? Could you perhaps describe that moment, that wow moment?
Well, for me, I think we were talking about where do we get all this resource and information about the 1960 Malaya. I think that was not an issue. We could like search, in the internet, we got references or reference photos and so on, which we can build on and so on. But by just kind of putting it up, then it's kind of too straightforward, right? So we had to think of ways to make it interesting. So we kind of started to experiment with montages. We montaged the video, we montaged the photo, we montaged a lot of things on top of each other, and then we created, music to go with it and so on. So actually, it turns out really nice. In fact, I think that was one thing that everyone of the audience came out and they were like so impressed with the so-called graphic design and all that went on. And it really enhances the show as well.
Nice. Like layers of storytelling.
Storytelling, and then we had videos of the marching to show the what happened after the independence. and then we merged it with photos and things like that. So I think it turned out really well. So good job to the team.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And Eric, what about you? What was the wow moment visually?
Visually wise, I think it's a dance performance by our choreographer, Zaf.
Okay.
He's really a good dancer. Like, there's one song called Jangi where he performed a solo dance.
Okay.
Like, because before that is all the performance by our young Kel singers where the non-professional dancer.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big contrast when Zaf came out and then start his Balinese dance. Like you really like it's a very eye-catching moment where the performance by him is like a big contrast to the audience and also to us because of his unique costume as well that from the Bali and the dance movement and the eyes, the face expression that he made to engage with the audience are very good. So I think that's the moment.
That stood out for you. Nice. And just going slightly a little bit into maybe costumes and stage design. How do you think the elements like costume, stage design, helped to amplify the themes or the narrative of the performance?
Actually, the use of all the elements is really important because to be able to let the audience feel what you're trying to bring out is all. It can be depends on the music, but also sometimes because humans are visual, so we try to come up with something that can let the audience to have thinking in their mind with through the visual that we present. So we try to bring out the motif of shadow puppet by using the mask and also the traditional style that we use the batik sarong for our performance. So with the use of different costume and also the traditional instrument that we use, create an atmosphere for the audience that they are really into the Southeast Asia.
Traditions. Yeah. Things. Okay, nice. Did you also play with a lot of batik?
Oh, we did a lot of kebaya.
Okay. Nice.
One thing that Dom, our costume designer, told me that for the 1960s, we have to do it right. If you want to do it right, we have to do it right, really 10 out of 10. You know? And one very important aspect of the 1960s is the hair.
Yes.
Yes. It's the hair. Yeah. And of course, we couldn't compromise. We used a lot of wigs, the ladies especially. At the time, you want to also show the different social classes and things like that. But regardless of the different social classes, for each of them, beauty, when it comes to beauty, is that beautiful sculpted kebaya and the beautiful, dressed hair and the bird nest and all that, So I think that actually made the production much more appealing. And plus, it's an opera after all. People come to watch something grand and they want to see all this. And I think when you put all that together, it's really representative of our culture and our legacy and so on.
Okay, nice. Are you perhaps working into something similar down the line?
Yeah, very good question. You know why? Because after that production, a lot of some audience actually came up to us and said, "Oh, so the next one should be something like that as well. You should have, a scene in the rubber estate. People tapping rubber and things like that. Perhaps you can do Carmen in that setting."
In the rubber estate, wow! If you could get creative inspiration from any historical figure or fictional character, who would it be and why?
It would be Don Giovanni.
Ooh.
Yeah. Or
Very
some
sexy.
people know him as Don Jose. Yeah, he's a playboy, a woman charmer and things like that. Yeah. That's where my plug comes in. And that's because we're having the next opera in October.
Okay.
Don Giovanni
Nice.
by Mozart.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so I think that would be an interesting opera to do as well, and it would be a new production for us.
Yep.
Like Bohème, we have done it 3 times before, or at least that's the time last year. So Don Giovanni will be the first time we're staging it in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And it will be interesting. Is one production whereby you have 8 principal singers who have their own arias, their own duets, and they have a lot to sing throughout. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited to
Yeah.
come out.
And also we are collaborating with a theatre in Germany, Augsburg, where we'll be bringing a stage director from there, a Singaporean director by the name of, okay, I forgot her name. How can I do? Oh,
But it's happening in October.
It's October.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. Eric.
My favorite, I can say, the actor
Yeah.
is actually a Hong Kong actor
Okay.
called Stephen Chow.
Ah.
I really like his style, that a lot of different series of
Mm.
movies, but each of his movie really have his style.
Yeah.
Like really, if you like it, then you really like it.
Yeah.
But also I heard someone that say, what are he doing? But I really like her style. Like I really like how he wipes with those, like he create a lame joke or like every single moment in the movie. I think you can laugh very hard.
Yes, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now I remember her name.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think she's going to be really upset with me, but okay, we'll be working with a stage director from Singapore. Her name is Heather Tan.
Heather Tan.
Yes,
Okay.
we met her last year, and a very pleasant person, and she is full of ideas, and so we're looking forward to work with her so that we can come up with a very creative presentation once again.
Nice. Well, thank you both for your answers. Such wonderful conversation that we've had together, and thank you for sharing the works that you have coming up.
Thank you so much.
Yes, congratulations once again, and thank you. We hope you've had a lovely session. We look forward to meeting you again.